everyone, welcome back to the channel and thank you as always for tuning back in. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Layla, the Lenormand reader, and today folks we are doing a pick a card reading and we are going to focus on a quick action or a quick tip that you can take away for something that you need to work on right now in your life. So this can feel like an urgent situation where you need some quick insight or some good ideas for how to go about moving in a certain direction or doing something about something that came up in your life. Or it can be that you need some guidance. It can be something a bit slower for you. That is fine. It just depends on your specifics, and that is not necessarily going to be reflected in the cards. Instead, what you want to take away is the guidance, that inspiration, or that, that aha click that comes through sometimes when you are doing a reading. And I've got 6 charms here, so I've been working on stones a lot recently, so I'm changing things a little bit. I want to switch to charms, and I have 6 of them. And of course, you're going to tune into the one that you want. Another thing that I want to say about this pick a card reading is that I'm going to use a single deck for all 6. So I'm going to be dividing the deck into 6 piles of 6. So this is a 6 by 6 reading. So let's go ahead and go through the charms before I divide the deck. The first charm that we have is the teardrop or the pear. We've got a lovely pair of scissors here. This is the lock and the coin, the key, and finally the feather. So you can tune into the charm that you want to resonate with for this reading, and of course, as normal, you're going to find the timestamps in the description box. Let's go ahead and deal out the cards in a 6 by 6 situation here so that we've got our cards ready for your reading. Okay, here we are with the 6 piles of 6. We are ready to do the individual readings. Again, tune into the charm that you want to resonate with for this pick a card, and if you need to, you can pause the video to do that. And like I said, you will find the timestamps in the description box. So I will see you in your reading. Okay, here we are with the pear group, the pear charm, and I've got the 6 cards that I dealt at the outset. So this is going to be a short 6 card reading, and for the 6 card, I do like a half portrait. It's just 6 cards, 2 rows of 3. So here we are with the cards. And let's look at what the guidance is telling you. A quick tip or some quick guidance for you. So it looks like you might need to bring something to an end, or it's possible that you need to wait. And I say that because we start off with the coffin. The coffin is a slower card. It has to do with things not really doing anything, not going anywhere. It's like a lull in the situation. It can also be a straight up ending. But in terms of guidance, it's definitely a good idea to wait and to be patient. And the thing about having the moon next to the coffin is that it has that sense of cyclicality. It's possible that things need to go through a phase, or there's a dormant phase, or perhaps an ending. And with the garden, it has to do with a certain community or an environment or a group of people. So maybe you get an invitation to go somewhere or to join something. However, I would say because of the coffin, either think about it or maybe postpone it or altogether turn it down. That is possible. I think there's a quieter phase coming in for you, and the idea is that you don't want to be reactive. That is definitely key, definitely a piece of guidance, and important guidance that is coming through for you. But also consider if in fact it might be time to put an end to something. So you have an option between these two so far. It's either about waiting and being patient, or just turning it down and putting an end to a situation. Let's move on to the bottom row. We have the bird, heart, and bear. This can be a very exciting line. The bird is about excitement. It's also a little bit about anxiety, especially with the heart. It tends to be associated with, heart palpitations. So the idea is excitement and possibly nervousness. And with the bear here, this can be about something important, probably an important event. As we can see here through the garden and bear, maybe you're going to be meeting some important people. Maybe this is an important opportunity to make a good impression. It's also important to step up to the responsibilities, but also there is a really positive energy that comes through the heart, especially that we have the moon on top of the heart. So it's possible that there is some kind of chemistry or attraction, or there's some kind of collaboration. There's an opportunity to get involved. And so what does this patient card here tell us in light of this bottom row? Well, I would say that, for one, you don't want to rush into this because you need to be well prepared. And then the idea of whether you want to do this or not is still on the table. It is going to be up to you. This is a guidance spread and not so much straight up predictions. But I do think that there's a good opportunity for you to make a really good impression. When we look at the heart and moon, and then the garden and bear, these are really positive cards on the right hand side, or towards the right hand side of this mini portrait of 6 cards. The thing about the coffin and bird is that you need to wait. So again, this idea of not being reactive, of not responding immediately, is coming very clearly through the cards. You might get a message, you might get the invitation like we suggested, but through the coffin and bird, we are seeing that you don't want to rush into saying a yes or a no. Instead, slow down, backtrack a little bit, double check if you feel that you can make that impression, or if you feel that you're up to this, and then based on that, decide. I do think you're going to be up for this. If you can take more time to prepare for it, if that's in your hands in a way, then so much the better, because there can be a good opportunity here, and you can stand out within the group here, and you can make an impression on these people of influence that are represented by the bear within the context of the garden. So that is a very possible scenario. Now, another scenario that could play out through the cards here is when it comes to relationships, and with the moon and heart and the garden and bear, and especially the bottom row, the idea of a possible love or attraction is very much at play here. So if you're contemplating a relationship, then it's definitely a good idea to take your time with it, as we see through the bird and the coffin here. One more possibility that could come through is that you had been waiting for some news, and it had been a while since it came through, or since you heard anything about it, and maybe that is what could have caused you a bit of nervousness and anxiety. But we see through the rest of the columns here, especially that they unfold towards the right hand side, is that you do get the news, and I think it really is matched to what you want. So it's probably going to make you happy, it's going to create some excitement, and it's going to help you move forward and step up into this exciting environment here. So all of these are possibilities for you. The key takeaway so far is that you really need to be patient and not be reactive. You need to wait until it comes through. You need to be prepared for the opportunity, and also you need to assess if you actually want to go with it, or if it's something you're going to remove yourself from it. I think it's the first two interpretations that are making more sense at this point. Let's wrap up with a few diagonals here. We have the coffin and heart, and then the heart and garden. So again, when it comes to love, this is a very telling card. It can mean that you'd been away, or that the other person had been away. There'd been a time of separation that had probably made your heart grow fonder, as they say. But then with the heart and garden, I think there's a lovely opportunity to get together. This can be a date, a romantic outing, or if you're already in that relationship, it could just be some kind of celebration that you do together, or some wonderful times that you spend together. Outside of the love and relationships context, I think the idea of success and happiness within a community certainly comes through. Maybe you'd been away, or you'd been waiting for that opportunity, like we said already, but because the garden is on the other side of the heart, I think it comes through, and you are back in the game, if you like. The bird, moon, and bear is very much about an invitation. The moon by itself can point to an invitation, and then with the bird, which is a vocal card and a card of communication, it can really highlight this idea, especially that we have the garden on the top line next to the moon. So the idea of an invitation is clear here, and with the bear, this can be something important. And so again, the question is if you are going to accept this invitation. I think you are going to. I just want to re-emphasize the idea that you don't want to rush into this. Think about it and see if you're prepared for it, and consider the implications. Otherwise, this is definitely a good time to network. We see here through the garden and bear the idea of being out in the community and really stepping up to that, and probably reaching out to people of influence, and really reach out and have conversations. Try to be calm about it all. The moon really helps tone the bird down. Again, the bird can be a bit anxious or excited, and so it's important to balance that out. So again, we're seeing this idea of, maybe I would even say, suppressing a little bit your excitement. You want to have a more calm exterior, someone who looks in better control. Okay, so make sure you manage your excitement or your anxiety, and just keep it cool and calm, and go ahead and network, reach out, ask questions, have a conversation, but also be a good listener. So the bird can be a bit prone to over talking or just being a little bit all over the place, but again, keep it calm and allow for some give and take. This is a pretty important environment, so you want to play the part well. So overall, Pear group, I think the key takeaway for you is to be patient and not rush into a decision. Still, I think that this could be an opportunity for you to network and be involved in exciting ways. Be cool. Don't let your anxiety or your excitement show through too much. Keep a calm exterior and prepare for this. Make a good impression on people of influence. And, don't be shy. Step up to this, get involved at the right time. Again, I think timing is very key in your cards because of the coffin and the moon, this idea of unfolding, but it is going to happen. So it's really about preparing for it and being up to it and having that right image and impression ready to make when you get out there. So some exciting cards, a bit slowing down here is what we're seeing. Let me know how it plays out for you. Let me know what this environment turns out to be for you and who might these important people be. And if this is about a relationship, then be ready to re-engage at the right time. Again, patience matters, allowing things to unfold matters. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed these ideas and insights. Again, let me know how it plays out. Leave me a comment and your thoughts below. And until we meet again, take very good care of yourself. All right, Scissors group, here we are with your cards. Just 6 cards for this quick action, quick takeaway reading, and your lovely charm here. So I'm going to keep them in the order that I dealt them out in, and just deal out the 6 cards here into some kind of half portrait. Let's see what is the key takeaway for you. I'm picking up something interesting here. So Scissors group, I would say, and it's really the book and the fox that stands out for me. There is an issue of secrecy here. The book is closed. The fox keeps things under its hat, very discreet, very clever. At the same time, I'm seeing 2 revelation cards. The flowers that brings things back into play, and the stork that releases matters and brings about change. And we do have the dog and anchor in these cards, and so this can be in relation to a friend. The fox is on top of the dog, so I have to wonder if this friend of yours or this person in your life, it can be a colleague, it depends on the context, if this isn't someone who is keeping something from you. Maybe you need to discover something. Maybe you're the one who needs to keep something under your hat and need to be careful about when you reveal it, or you need to be calculating about when you reveal it. But I think that because of the bottom row that looks really positive and the stork and anchor on the right hand side, it's looking like this issue that had not been revealed or that had been a secret or not fully understood comes through, and there is an understanding. So I think despite the fox in the cards, I think it is looking positive. So let's go ahead and weave these ideas and come out with this key guidance for you. The book Fox and Stork points to something that is revealed. So the book and fox, like we said, suggests a secret, someone who had been secretive, or maybe someone who hadn't been revealing something about themselves. But because the stork figure is on the right hand side, it's like there's a release, there's an opening. And so I think that this person comes through, the information is revealed, and there is like a release, from this closure that we see with the book. Now, the way to look at this line as guidance, as like a takeaway action for you, is that you want to be calculating and careful about when you reveal this, and also to whom you reveal it. And also be patient before you reveal it. So really think about what is the right time for you to make this announcement or whatever it is you're bringing out onto the surface. And because of the fox, you want to be careful about who you share this with. So I want you to go over these people in your situation and think about who might not be, so ideal to be within this circle to whom you share this stuff with, if it applies in your context. Otherwise, it's again about this idea of timing and making sure you're going to announce it at the right time. I would say also that the fox quiets things down along with the anchor and the book, I would say. So you don't have to feel rushed. You don't have to feel rushed about sharing this, about revealing this. You can take your time and be really calculating about it. In the bottom row, we have the flowers, dog, and anchor, and this is really positive in terms of relationships and friendships. The dog represents a friend, someone in your peer group. It can be a colleague, it can be a customer, it can just be someone who helps out in your life, and sometimes it can represent your children, especially when they're older, like they're teens, and so on. The flowers is lovely for everything positive and optimistic. It's associated with spring. It has a really positive energy. It has that sense of things coming back. And so if someone had been away, or maybe you had doubts about something or someone, the flowers helps you resolve this and bring things back into play and people into play. And the anchor is really good in relationships because it's associated with security and trust. So this is someone whom you can rely on. They're very supportive. They have a strong back. So it's very lovely in terms of friendships. Now, in contrast with the top row, I feel that a resolution is really possible. So maybe you were having doubts about this person or about them relative to a certain situation, but really the bottom line helps you resolve your doubts, and you're going to find that maybe you were mistaken to have these negative ideas about this person. So I think a key takeaway here for you, Scissors Group, is that you want to be patient because something is about to be revealed and it's going to resolve the doubts that you were having about this person. So don't be quick to judge. Don't be quick to categorize them, label them, or to make up your mind about them, okay? Don't put yourself in this situation. It's premature. Something is going to come through. It's going to clarify matters, and it's probably going to lift the doubts and release them. So it's going to feel good. You're going to be happy, and it's going to resolve the issues either that you had in your mind or possibly issues that you had with them. The flowers is great for forgiveness, things coming back together, a release and renewal. All of these energies are lovely with the flowers. And when we look at what's going on the right-hand side of the portrait, especially with the stork and anchor, then I think it really carries through to the outcome. So you can't put your mind to rest about this person or this situation. So again, the key takeaway is don't be quick to judge. Don't be quick to be negative or skeptical. There's going to be clarity around this person or the situation, and it's going to be relieving, and you're going to be happy again about this person or with them. Looking at the columns, the book and flowers is a lovely revelation. The fox and dog, like we said, can bring some question marks around this person. And then the stork and anchor is lovely for forward movement, I would say. Now, sometimes the anchor and stork can be looked at in terms of opposites. And that's mainly in terms of travel and movement. So I'm not sure if that really applies in this context when we're focusing on a person or that doubt that you're working through. Instead, I think that this pair is better telling about the idea of releasing yourself from the doubt, first of all, and also coming back to a strong foundation. So it can go both ways, because the stork and anchor is about release, and then the stork and anchor can also be about that sense of security that comes through again. So far, I really think, Scissors Group, that your doubts or this question marks, or the suspicions that you're having about a person or a situation or a specific person relative to a specific situation, depending on what you're working through, I think they're going to be resolved. So again, the key takeaway is don't judge or do anything prematurely, because it can have negative consequences when there's no need for it to be. At least wait until more information comes through. And I'm pretty positive that this information is going to be, relieving and positive in itself. It's going to be a good thing. So that way you don't have to backtrack on any actions, so just be patient a while longer. Let's wrap up with a couple more diagonals here. We have the book, dog, and stork. So yeah, very clearly, this unrevealed aspect about this person is released and it comes through. It's also possible that this person was away or wasn't revealing, but finally they come through because we have the stork, which is a card of releasing and opening and change and movement. And then the fox, the flowers, fox, and anchor is also pretty positive. Sometimes I would take the fox and flowers to suggest someone who's a bit false to your face, someone who just compliments you, a bit fake, they don't really mean it. But because of the anchor on the other side of the fox and the bottom row and the overall indications that we're taking away from this portrait, I really think that you're able to resolve your doubts that come through the fox. Another thing is the advice of, just being patient and calm because things are going to come through. So in the meantime, be diplomatic, be nice. Even if you feel you're being false to someone's face, you're better off doing that instead of, messing up and then having to backtrack when in fact there's no reason for you to have these suspicions. I'm not saying you should take it on faith from these cards that you don't have to have suspicions. I'm saying something will come through that will help you resolve your doubts and have more clarity on the situation. So what I'm saying is until this comes through, just be a while patient and play a good part. That's what I'm saying. And I hope that makes sense, and I hope that it's helpful advice. So let me know, Scissors Group, how you like these ideas. Leave me your thoughts and comments. I'm really looking forward to them. Again, be calm, take it easy. It's going to come through in time. Until then, very best of luck with this. Thank you so much for tuning in, and take very good care of yourself. Okay, Lock Group, here we are with your cards, the 6 that I initially dealt out, and your lovely charm. So we're just going to deal them out in a sort of a half portrait kind of shape and look at what is the key guidance for you to take away from this reading. Wow, these are lovely cards. So in general, this is spelling a lot of luck on your situation. I think you can look forward to wish fulfillment and things materializing pretty much exactly how you want them. The Clover and Sun are 2 of the luckiest cards of the deck, and the tree is also very beautiful. The ship is also great, and the Ring and Tower are the 2 cards that I think are interesting here. I think we should just go ahead and weave the lines in turn and then come up with a picture for you in terms of a key takeaway or key guidance by way of quick action for this situation. We have the ship, tree, and ring. Now this bodes really, really well for a relationship, but I also feel that this might have to do with a commitment, even if it's not about a relationship. The tree is very much about growth. The tower is the long term. I'm seeing here that your relationship is for the long term. This is why I'm thinking in terms of commitment. I think you need to prepare to be committed to this for a while. And the thing about the ship and tree is that this is going to be about your growth, and it's very much about your success as well, because we have these lovely cards in the layout as well. And the tower brings up the similar idea that you are looking at long-term growth, long-term commitment, because it involves, growing in terms of expertise and specialty or whatever it is you are focused on over the next phase. And the ship is also good for expanding your horizons, going beyond your comfort zone. So this can be a phase of growth for you, and it can feel really, really fulfilling. We're not seeing growth pains, if you know what I mean. Instead, we're seeing this smooth unfolding that feels really fulfilling thanks to the Clover and Sun. So it is very much a time for you to grow, very much a time for you to commit. So if you are thinking about whether you need to be involved with something, think about this carefully. And certainly the tree encourages that kind of thoughtfulness, going under a tree and thinking, changing perspectives or looking at things from different perspectives. Because this involvement, you're going to be in for the long term. So think about this before you engage in it, although I have to say that it's looking really, really promising. And of course, the cards are lovely for relationships. This can be a time of commitment. So if you're thinking about this, it's looking really good. I think because of these bright cards, I think you must already feel that this is right for you. I mean, these are very strong cards that bring a lot of positive confirmation. So think about the long term and this long term commitment, because that's what you need to commit to and head for and prepare for. And the bottom row, we have the Clover, Sun, and Tower. You are definitely in for a long patch of good luck, at least within this situation or circumstance that you're asking about. Really don't doubt your luck. You have a lot of inner guidance, outer guidance, mysterious guidance from above that is really carrying you forward. If this is about a past situation, because the Tower can sometimes bring up the past, then the Clover and Sun can very much resolve any issues about the past. So we're looking at a total healing here and a complete release from any limitations. And this can come into the picture for you because you're looking to grow beyond a certain phase. It is very, very well highlighted here. It's also possible that the Ring and Tower can represent a certain connection with someone who is in authority or at some high up position. Maybe it is someone who is very experienced, very wise, and you possibly consult this person. If that's a possibility for you, then the card very much encourages you to consult with this person. I think they're going to come through with a lot of support, with a lot of good ideas for you. So very, very positive. Again, the idea is the long-term commitment, so put yourself in that mindset that you are looking to gain results over the long term. So nothing happens overnight. Keep that in mind. You're going to have to do things consistently with a lot of discipline, as we see here, and in time, they will pay off. Now let's look at the columns. The Ship and Clover is wonderful for just about everything. It is very much about adventure and exploring. It can be literally about travel. If this is something you're contemplating, then the cards are really supportive. The Tree and Sun are lovely for growth and success. So I really feel that you're in for quite a bit of achievement. I think you can reach the top. Again, it doesn't happen overnight. The Tree and Tower are slower cards. And so it does make sense to, to be patient and to be consistent and to look at your progress every so often. But I do think that you feel really well aligned with your goals and your purpose. And I think you're moving ahead with enthusiasm. And then the Ring and Tower, like we said a few times, is a long-term commitment, possibly a connection with someone important, someone in authority. But overall, in general, I think the key takeaway for you, Luck Group, is this idea of a long-term commitment, of committing over the long term and being willing to be consistent. At the same time, we are looking at some really, really positive outcomes, wish fulfillment, goal achievement, growth in any ways that you are looking at. All of these are really, really well starred. Now, of course, the cards can represent a relationship. Obviously, the Ring and Tower is very much about that. The Ring by itself is very much about that. And we have all of these lovely cards nearby. So it bodes really, really well for a relationship. If this is about commitment, I think you are heading there. I don't think you need to do much about this except allow it to unfold and prepare for it. But it does look like you are reaching a commitment, and this person may well be the right person for you. This can be a soul connection because of the Tree, and then of course the Sun and Clover are beautiful. And on top of that, we have the Tower, which has to do with that long-term commitment. So this can be marriage, anything on that level. This can be really, really well started for you. So if you're thinking about this, then I think it's pretty clear what the cards are telling you. They are supporting you with this and really blessing you with it. Let's wrap up with a few diagonals here. We have the Ship, Sun, and then the Sun and Ring. So any way you look at these cards, they are great. You can look forward to a happy trip through the Sun and Ship. You can look forward to a wonderful adventure, some very exciting ventures, and also all of this pours in very positively into your commitments or your relationship. You could be going away with someone. Maybe it's time for some time away, and if that's what you're considering, that may well go through, and it's very well starred. And then the Clover, Tree, and Tower is a very blessed combination. The clover is lovely, the tree is lovely, the tower is more or less neutral, but with these cards here, it bodes really well for the long term. So again, the idea of the long term is very much in the picture. So whatever it is you're doing, aside from all of these positive messages, the key takeaway for you is that you need to focus on the long term. Anything you're doing now needs to work out for your long term. And anything you're going to get into now, prepare to commit to over the long term. I would also say that you don't want to take shortcuts. You don't want to shortchange yourself or others. You want to live up to the commitments. You could be making some really important impressions here with these people at the top, or, it's important for you personally, for your path. Don't take shortcuts and be ready to commit over the long term. This is very much the key advice that is coming through on top of all of these beautiful messages. So really, log group, very, very beautiful set of cards. The takeaway is your commitment over the long term, your willingness to keep up your promises. Don't rush, don't shortchange, no shortcuts. Do things right, take your time with them, and really enjoy them, because there is so much positive energy that underlies the situation of yours. Just connect with it and enjoy this whole unfolding as you grow and commit and make things happen for you now and over the long term. Lovely set of cards. Let me know how you like them, log group. I'm really looking forward to your thoughts and comments. And until we meet again, thank you so much for watching, and take very good care of yourself. Okay, here we are with the coin group cards. We've got this beautiful coin on the side, and we have our 6 cards that we initially dealt out. So remember, we are looking at some quick action that you need to take, or a quick piece of advice or takeaway so that you can work on the situation that you're confronted with right now. So let's go ahead and deal out the cards in this mini portrait kind of configuration and see what is the key takeaway for you. Now that is interesting, coin group. I really think that you might want to just do it. It's really the child and scythe that tells me that. The child is the card of new beginnings, and the scythe is a sudden change or a sudden situation. It can also point to release. And with the child here, it can mean breaking out and into this new beginning. So it can be very much suggesting that you shouldn't hesitate anymore, you shouldn't doubt anymore, and you should just take the first step at least, and then see how it unfolds. And from there, you can adjust or correct to continue moving forward. We also have the man card that appears here along with the house. This can point to someone in your family, someone close to home, a family friend, even your partner. And it can also refer to a colleague or someone in your work environment, because the house can also be associated with work. And the mountain and cross is a very interesting combination. It points to some very important chapter in your life, but at this stage you don't know how important it's going to be. And what is even more interesting is that the child and mountain is a similar meaning, in fact almost the exact same meaning as far as I'm concerned. So whether it's the cross and mountain or the child and mountain, you are moving into a very important chapter whose importance you do not yet see. And the thing about the child and scythe is that you just need to take that first step, and then in time you will see how important all of this was looking back. So this can be a really exciting time for you, coin group. I have to say the cards are really special. You need to take that first step and trust that you are going to be guided down your path. And indeed, this can turn out to be something really important for you. So I would say, see if you can embrace it, at least take a few steps forward and see where it leads to. But I think it's going to be over the longer term where you see the importance of all of this. And it can be this man here, this person in your environment, in your inner circle, I would also say, that helps you move forward. I have to say, though, that it's also possible that you part from this man-house situation here. We've got the child and scythe that comes right after it, and then you move into this exciting, mysterious new direction here. Can it apply to a situation like a divorce? Yes, it can. 6 cards are short for something like that, but we did commit to a short, quick reading. So depending on your specifics, this idea can come through. And it can also refer to letting go of It can be moving. You could be moving out from this house here. You could also be leaving a job. And like we said, you could be releasing yourself from a deeper relationship. And it's time for a new beginning and turning the page. So that can be quite a turning point for you. I would say, Coin Group, the key takeaway is that you need to stop wobbling about this and you need to release yourself. It's important to embrace this new beginning. These are the really key indications that are coming through, or the key pieces of guidance that are coming through for you. And in time, you're going to see how important this turning point is or was for you looking back. Now let's look at the rows here. We immediately started with the columns. The house, child, and mountain. Very much a new beginning, a new chapter, like we said, through the child and mountain. And it can also point to this idea of a new place. Maybe it's a place abroad or in a different location. That is possible. But I have to say that it's possible if you are in a family or in a relationship, you could have a child or a new child or another child, depending on your situation. That is possible. It's not the most common interpretation, but it might apply for some of you. I have to say, though, that in this specific context, the scythe can be a bit tricky. This might not be the right time, but if it is and you feel it is, then it's going to open up this new chapter that we were talking about. But more broadly, the idea of a new place, a new foundation, a new base, and a different location is very much highlighted by these cards. So it can be a house move. And in fact, when we look at the house, scythe, and mountain, it may well be that you are completely releasing yourself from your current situation, from the current foundations, and breaking through into something different. The mountain can sometimes point to an obstacle, and when I see it with the scythe, it can point to this breaking away at an obstacle. So again, we're seeing this idea that you want to move through and move forward. Don't be stuck anymore. Just break through the obstacles, release yourself from the current situation. The status quo is going to change, and I think you need to embrace that. And as soon as you embrace that, don't wobble about it. Be sharp and move forward. So pretty powerful message, I would say, Coin Group. Maybe it's going to cause you a bit of nervousness and anxiety, but I really think that this is going to prove to be important. The man, child, and cross, just continuing on the diagonals, points to a new relationship. I think in light of the bottom row, man, scythe, and cross, the idea of a new relationship is highlighted furthermore, because man, scythe, and cross can point to a separation like we suggested. So we have a number of indications that bring about this idea of a separation and a parting. This can be a straight up breakup, a straight up divorce. Like I said, it's going to depend on your circumstance, but there is this strong idea of you releasing yourself from a circumstance that involves this person, and it can be on the job, home and family, friendship, or any other context in your life. And I think I'm really not seeing, Coin Group, that it's a good idea to postpone this. Really, the scythe and cross, it can be a bit painful, especially with the cross and scythe here, but it's not a time to hesitate anymore. The idea of release and change and new beginnings are very much highlighted by these cards. So the cross brings this idea of a burden, of having to do something, having to deal with something. And I think that in this context is telling us that there really isn't a way around releasing yourself from the present circumstance if you want to embrace this new beginning. So your decision making is going to have to be sharp, and you're going to have to stand firm and strong behind your decision, Coin Group. And if this involves a separation from someone, then I feel you're going to have to embrace that too. Again, I'm not saying what you should be doing, but I'm saying that once you make a decision, stand behind it and embrace this new beginning. Turn the page and move on. And this can be a really critical turning point for you at this stage. So this feels like a bit of a loaded reading. And I think that really came through the child and mountain and the cross and mountain and the cross and the cards in general, which brings up these ideas of matters of destiny, the deeper lessons in life and things like that. So that is pretty key for you. Bit of a heavy reading, major decision coming through, major change, major chapter ahead for you, and this likely comes in the wake of a separation. I'm not saying this is easy, coin group, but I think you are seeing that it's going to be necessary sooner or later. So whenever you're ready, just make sure you stand behind your decision and don't wobble about it, and embrace change. So let me know how you like these ideas. Very best of luck with this. I'm really looking forward to your thoughts and your comments. And until we meet again, take very good care of yourself, and thank you so much for watching. All right, key group, here we are with your cards and your lovely charm. And I've got the 6 cards that I initially dealt out. We're just going to deal them out right away into this a 3x2 mini portrait kind of configuration here, because we just have 6 cards. Let's see, wow, what this is about. The snake and whip. Obviously this jumps out. The snake and whip is an outright separation, I would say, key group. I also think it's about blowing things out of the water. The snake is a quiet card. It's a card of secrecy. But it's also someone really tricky and oftentimes outright dishonest. And the thing about the whip is that it comes into contrast with the snake. The snake is quiet, the whip is loud. And so when we see these 2 cards together, it can be a couple of things. Like I said, it can be blowing things out of the water and really bringing something out into the open, blowing someone's cover really. And it can also mean that there's a bite, or that the snake bites, so it comes out of the grass and it strikes. So this can be very much at play here. Now, in terms of advice, I think the idea of striking, taking a stand, making a point, even being sharp about it is very much at hand for you, key group. And it's going to depend on your specifics, but I'm not really seeing a way around blowing things out of the water here. You can't be quiet about this anymore. It's time to make a point and take a stand. And it's possible that there's a conflict. And if there is a conflict, I'd say don't back out from it, don't back down. You can manage it in a smart way. You can talk in a certain way, but I'm not seeing a way of avoiding the situation. If we had the mountain instead of the whip, it would be a way around the situation. So it can be an indirect route. But with the whip, this is a much more confrontational combination, and it also brings out the bite out of the snake. So really the idea of not confronting is not on the table. We're seeing the need to confront a situation and to be ready to stand up against it. Now let's back up to the other columns. It's very interesting how the other cards here, they come in contrast, and a sharp contrast with the snake and whip. So of course we'll see what this is about as we build up the lines. The star and letter is wonderful news. It answers a wish, it comes through, it's exactly what you want. And the lily and key is a career opportunity. So I have to wonder if these 4 cards here are bringing up some kind of work opportunity for you. It's interesting that the lily and letter can point to a contract, because this legal, official kind of situation can come through the cards, and the star and key, just for the sake of continuing the diagonals in this 4 card structure here, is all around success. So it's very interesting how we have a wish fulfillment set of cards here in the face of the snake and whip here. So what could be at play? Well, when it comes to work, and it can be about work because of the lily, which is a card of career, you could get an opportunity. You could get a job offer. And so you get one and then you leave your present circumstance. That is very possible. This opportunity looks really good and you're probably going to take it, and so you have to leave your current situation. But I have to say that if that's the case, even then, I'm seeing that the snake and whip can mean that it's not going to be easy to leave your current situation or to make these changes. You're going to have to find a way, and you're going to have to keep at it until you find a way. And I think this is what comes up for you next. Now, these lovely cards, the star and key here, the letter and lily, they don't have to represent a job offer per se. It can represent an opportunity in any area of your life, one that you're going to embrace, and one that will require you to break away from your current circumstance. So I think the key guidance that is coming through for you, key group, is the idea that you're going to prepare to separate or to confront the current situation, because you're going to have to move on in a different direction, and or you're going to have to embrace an opportunity. So I think it can cause an issue. It can also cause envy. The snake is the card of envy, and with the whip, it can cause quite a bit of problems. Normally the snake is quiet, but the whip really brings out a bite, like we said, and so it's not as quiet as it would be on its own. And so when you have a lot of good coming your way, there can be certain characters who envy you for that and might even make it a point. Whereas normally envious people, they keep it under their hat because it's not always smart to show that you're jealous. But in this case, someone might come right out and say, what the heck, which is curious. Now let's read the rows. I normally start with the rows, but because the snake and whip jumped out so much, we went ahead and read the columns. So the star, lily, and snake is a change, a welcome change. And it can be in terms of your career, like we said, because of the lily. But the lily is also about your life and your life path. And with the snake on the other side of it, I really think that you could be turning in a new direction. You could be making changes, and you're wanting to, change things around and move in a different direction. So I think this is about pursuing what you want and really living in a deeper alignment with what is meaningful to you. And the thing about the snake here is that, again, it can bring up envious people or people who don't support you in your journey. And these are people you're going to get out of the way because of the whip. But it can also suggest that as you pursue your new goals, as you make changes in your life, you first want to go about it quietly. The snake is a card of silence, and also cautiously. So, just take it one step at a time. Consider your goals carefully. Know who you are. Know what you're after. Be on alert. Just look beyond the surface. This is going to be helpful. In the bottom row, we have the letter, key, and whip. And again, it is this contrast, with the snake and whip being on the right-hand side here. But the key and letter is really good news. And of course, we have the star and letter, which confirms that. So you are unlocking an opportunity. There is a breakthrough. Something comes through. You get a successful feedback. It can be any number of things depending on your specifics, but the news is good. And the news is something that gives you the green light to move forward and to make changes. Again, we have the whip. The whip is challenging, but I really think thanks to the key, you'll be able to deal with this. But I'm not seeing that you can back away from it or avoid it. I really think that the idea of confronting the challenge that is brought by the snake and whip is going to be key. And you have what it takes for it. The key is a resourceful card. It points to intelligence and brightness. And so you've got what it takes to do this, and you've got what it takes to engage in this new life chapter or these changes that you're looking at, or this new job or new career, depending on what you're focused on. But it comes with facing up to certain characters who maybe don't want you to take that opportunity, who are envious, who are just in your way, who could be limiting you. And I think it's really important to confront this. Sometimes this can point to something inside of you. I can't rule that out. The snake can represent like your monsters, if you know what I mean. Those negative talks and challenges that you put for yourself. That is possible, but I think now is the time to overcome this and really to grow beyond these limitations. So I'd say this is important. It's important to confront the limitations, to get past envious, petty, challenging people, and to embrace your good. So this is very much the piece of advice that is coming through these cards. At the same time, you have lots of good coming your way. Wish fulfillment and achievement and new opportunities. But really the key takeaway is that confront those who will challenge you and move past them. So there's going to be a point where you confront them, but also a point to move past them. Let's wrap up with a couple of diagonals, though. I think we have a pretty clear message, but still good to sense check everything. The star, key, and snake is all around success. The snake is actually nice with the key. It brings out this sharpness. Very, very intelligent, very smart. And you know, the star is another card that shines, you know, so you've got a lot of insights, a lot of brilliant ideas. You know, build on them, use them. The letter lily and whip is, I think, the point of separation here. The idea that you announce that you're going to do this, that you're going to make that change, that you're going to embrace this whatever thing that is coming your way. And yeah, this is what's going to open the door to the confrontation that you're going to have to deal with in order to move past it into this wonderful opportunity that is lined up for you. So a lovely set of cards, I would say, key group, provided you're willing to stand up to this and to stand behind your decisions. Be willing to speak your truth. Be willing to talk honestly with the other person. And don't hesitate to, shall we say, point fingers at the right situation or the right person. You know, don't blame anyone, and don't be, you know, don't be unfair. But for those people who you are clear about their intentions and their negative energy being directed towards you, you might need to put them in place. You know, so don't hesitate to do that. You've got what it takes, and also don't dwell on it. So once you make your point and you've put them in place, or you've confronted the situation, move on. I think you're going to be busy with this opportunity, and you don't want to dwell on these negative situations. Instead, you want to dwell on your good and all of the good that is lined up for you. So despite the challenge, I still think this is very exciting, and you've got what it takes to do this. I have to note that the key came for the key. I don't usually read these signs in my reading, but you know, sometimes they happen. There's no need to overlook them when they're so obvious, right? So let me know your thoughts about this. I'm really looking forward to it. Very best of luck with this. Have courage. You've got what it takes. Get past it and move into your good. Let me know how it plays out. Do come back to this reading to let me know. So thank you so much for tuning in, folks. And until we meet again, take very good care of yourself. And again, very best of luck with it. Okay, Feather Group, here we are with the 6 cards that we initially dealt out and your lovely charm on the side. And I'm just going to deal them out into a short 6-card reading, which is a 3x2 or some kind of mini portrait here. And let's look at what it is you need to take away, your quick action or that quick piece of advice for your current situation. Interesting. Well, I think just looking at this in an overview kind of way, I would say move forward, move on. We have some action cards here, Feather Group. We have the Rider and the Road. These are movement cards. And the idea is to take a step and to go ahead, especially since the road is on the right-hand side here. Now, with the fish at the beginning of this line, this can bring up the idea of money. It can be about income. It can be about your work. It can be about investments. Any area that involves your money, or more broadly, something practical and material, is at play here. The thing about the Rider and Road in the context of the fish is the idea of taking tangible steps. So if this isn't about the area of money and practical affairs in your life, it still is about taking practical steps forward in this path. So I would say don't stall, move forward. I would even venture out and say that taking a step is better than not taking any at all. So think about what you need to do to move forward, even if a bit, and do that. You can't stall, you need to move forward. And that is very clearly coming through the top row. Now in the bottom row, we have the mouse, clouds, and woman. So clearly this brings up someone in the picture, and I would say someone who is a bit of a headache here. So we have the mouse and clouds. Both of these cards are challenging cards. They're not super challenging like the whip and scythe and coffin and the heavier cards, but they're still pretty annoying. And the mouse in particular with a person card indicates someone who just sort of drains you. What's interesting is that we see it under the fish. And so I really feel this can be someone who takes and doesn't really give back. Maybe they borrowed from you and they're not really giving it back. It can be something like that. In general, it's someone who just takes and doesn't really give back, doesn't return. So beware of this person. And I would say don't lend anything, or certainly not beyond what you can't afford to lose, okay? Because when we see the mouse here, it points to losses, and with the fish, it's about waste and financial waste, so beware of that. The clouds is a mental card. It points to confusion, nebulous affairs, doubts. And with the woman and the mouse, it's very clear that this person here is a bit of a pain. And so in light of the top row, I would say you need to move on from this person. Don't let them hold you back. And also, I would say, don't really lend them much or anything at all. Instead, if you have to give something, maybe give your advice, give your time, give them some suggestions to get out of the situation they could be in. This can be a bit more personal. This can be a close relationship, a friendship, a love relationship that could be maybe souring a little bit. I'm not seeing the love cards in the spread, but this is a short 6-card reading. Like we said, we're gonna, focus on that piece of advice. But if this is the context that is applying to you, then I'm seeing a need to move on and not dwell on the issues that this person brings up. Don't let this person hold you back, cloud your way, get in your way, waste your time, waste your resources. It looks like you need to just move past them and not let them hold you back. That's what we're seeing here. Now, when we look at the columns, we have additional suggestions, I think. The rider and clouds specifically can bring up maybe a conversation or maybe some news or a message here. And maybe you need to clarify matters with this person. Maybe you need to take a stand, although I'm not seeing that it's a sharp, tough stand. Yeah, we're not seeing the whip and big confrontational cards. It's really just about, clarifying things for this person. Letting them know how you feel and letting them know that you are going to move past this. And then the road and woman is definitely a change and moving forward in a relationship or past a relationship. In fact, the road, it can mean coming and going. But when it comes to relationships, it tends to be more about a going and leaving. And the reason is because the road is the Queen of Diamonds. And the Queen of Diamonds is something of a shifty and flaky character. And the symbol of the roads in general is not really stable for a relationship. It doesn't have that binding energy, there's no glue with the road. So it tends to be associated with partings when it comes to relationships. And with the woman here, we're seeing that it could be time to move on from this, especially that there are negative cards here next to her. So that is a obvious thing coming through the cards. So definitely the key advice coming through so far, Feather Group, is the need to move on and to move forward, and the need to move past someone who could be a bit draining here. There's also an additional piece of advice of not lending and not wasting, so watch that. Let's wrap up with a couple of diagonals. We've got the fish, clouds, and road. So you could be in for some expenses. The clouds and fish can bring up sudden expenses that were not planned for. And this can have to do with your trip or your journey or this forward movement that you are taking. But it can also warn you against expenses down the road. And that could be another reason why you don't want to spread yourself too thin now, and certainly not waste your resources on people who really have no business taking from your resources. The mouse, rider, and woman is another combination that's pointing to a bumpy ride. The mouse and rider can bring up, these issues that get in your way. They slow you down. And the woman here seems to be the person who causes that. So the key here is really to be aware of these issues that are coming up for you or that could come up for you. And I think it's really important that you clarify your position around this person here who seems to be this draining energy in your life. You're going to have to be busy with your own stuff, okay? You can't be distracted by people who are draining at your resources, slowing you down, getting in your way, throwing speed bumps in your path. that's something you want to avoid. And I think what you need to do now is really clarify this with this person or other people or whoever is involved in your path now, and be clear about your limitations and certain limits that you're going to put on this. The spread is really practical, not only because of the fish, but also because of the forward movement, the person card. It's very much about doing stuff, getting things done, and keeping both feet on the ground. And when you make progress, it needs to be tangible progress. It can't be, imaginary progress, or it can't feel like you're doing progress. You need to see the results, yeah? And so focus on that as well. And in the process, recall your resources, put a limit, budget things, avoid lending where you don't need to. Really organize yourself and take practical steps to avoid any wastage and to plan well. And this person here, if she's in your way, then you're going to need to move past that. Move past the obstacles that she's putting in your way. You're going to have to clarify any issues with her and move on and move forward. Apart from that, the line, especially the top line and the spread in general, is very clear about forward movement and moving forward. So don't stop, take an action. It's better than not taking any. And I would say in the process, be clear about your goals, because the rider is very much a goal card. And with the fish, it can be your financial goals, work goals, bigger goals, so very important here to be clear about where you're heading, and also to move forward. So as they say, KMF, keep moving forward and get this stuff out of the way, like if you need to confront it a little bit, do that. Don't lend, don't spread yourself too thin. You're going to have to look after your own stuff down the road. Okay, so be aware of that. So there's quite a few messages coming through. There could be a lot going on for you, Feather Group. Maybe you're very busy now moving forward and you're like, getting that stuff out of your way and just making sure everything is organized. So yes, get into the detail, figure things out, be patient, and get these people out of the way, and remember to watch your money carefully and be practical about it. Aside from that, move forward, take steps forward, make it real, make it happen. So let me know how you like these ideas, Feather Group. I'm really looking forward to your thoughts and comments. And until we meet again, very best of luck with it and take very good care of yourself. Thank you so much for watching.